Hello and welcome back. It's puzzle time with Sudoku Sleuth, and today we're looking upwards into the skies at stars, specifically about what used to be a star and nebula now, with Insurgent Nebula. So let's take a look at today's puzzle. Although you can see Sleuth somehow seeing a nebula, despite the moon being up, full moon looking into the night sky. There's no way they're going to be able to see anything. I think that should have been done in an observatory, really, in a slightly darker picture. Anyway, let's take a look at today's puzzle. So we've got Insurgent Nebula by ViKingPrime. Now, it's a 2-star difficulty rating puzzle, and normally I don't feature it on this channel because I think once you get to the point where a puzzle is half an hour or longer or 40 minutes or longer, I'm not sure necessarily people will enjoy those videos, and to be fair, there are other channels, certainly Cracking the Cryptic come to mind. If you enjoy that kind of a challenge or such a difficult puzzle, there are probably other channels out there. I would rather continue to focus on things that are generally more approachable, more my kind of game, something that I can solve myself. And I'll explain when I take you through the rules why I thought this one felt just a little bit more approachable than normal. So, rule sets are normal Sudoku rules apply. So that means the digits 1 to 9 in every row, every column, and every 3x3 box. We are very familiar with those. Arrows, so digits along each arrow must sum to the digit in its originating circle. And we've got some very odd ones here, but here is an arrow, for example, that is 3 digits. These 3 digits must add up to some value that you should be able to place in here. So that value clearly is going to be from the digits 1 to 9 so that it can be placed in this single cell digit. We also have German whispers that are in green. So digits along each German whisper line must differ by at least 5. We've featured these quite frequently on the channel. I think it's probably the most, is it the most? Probably one of the highest rule set that we come across, or Sudoku variant rules, where essentially if this particular one is 6, 7, 8, or 9, and a 6, the next digit must be 5 away, so it ends up being a low digit of 1, 2, 3, or 4, and you end up with this oscillating pattern between a high digit and a low digit, a high meaning higher than 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, or low meaning 1, 2, 3, or 4, and less than 5. No prizes for figuring out why 5 is not allowed on German whispers lines. We also have odd/even. So digits within circular cells are odd. Now, I think these are only the gray cells that I'm highlighting here, so there's 3 of them. The ones that are not filled in, these are clearly part of an arrow, so let's not confuse the two. And then the last rule that we have is Renban, which is the pink lines. I see these as purple, but we'll call them pink. ViKingPrime has. So digits along each of these pink lines are Renban line and must be consecutive and may appear in any order. Although given they are 2 digits, it just really means that there is 2 continuous digits. So for example, if I placed a 4 in here, well, I placed a 5, let's go with 5, then this one must be 4 or 6 to be contiguous with the 5. And that's all the rule sets we have. If you want to play along, link will be in the description down below as per usual. And with that said, let's restart the clock and see how we get on. So with any type of arrow Sudoku, what I normally observe is there is an arrow that has more than 3 cells on it. 3 cells. I don't think it can have more without getting into a bit of trouble. What that normally says is, the minimum you can make these will be 1, 2, and 3. And therefore the minimum you can make the circle is 6, 7, 8, or 9. However, when I was looking at this puzzle, I noticed this circle here has a Renban line on it. And that Renban line is actually part of an arrow. So essentially, we're saying if this is a 5, this is a 4, and this is a 1. This is a 6, well, this is a 5, and this is a 1. In any scenario, we absolutely have to place a 1 in here, and that's our first digit. In under a minute. Now, 3 cells, if you don't have a 1, it has to be from 2, 3, and 4, because if you add these up, we're already at 9. That's a 9. That's an 8. This has to be odd because it's on an odd circle. That's a 3. And we're off to a phenomenal start with 4 digits placed in under a minute and a half. We've placed 1, 3, and 9. This is a odd digit. We're only left with 5 and 7. And therefore this is, if that's a 7, that has to be a 6. We've already placed an 8. If that's a 5, it can be a 6 or it could be a 4. And we must place a 6 somewhere in this left column. Okay. So going back to these fairly odd shaped arrows. Because what this is saying is whatever this digit is, we need to be able to arrive to it using three different digits, kind of. One of them is shared, but 3 different digits, at least in 2 different ways. So continuing with that example where I said this could be a 6, that's clearly not true because the next digits will be 4 and 5, and that will get us to 10. Now, I don't think this can even be a 7, because 7 in 3 digits is fixed. It's 1, 2, and 4. I can't put any other 2 digits in here to get to 7. Well, to get the 6 plus the 1. So this will force us to place an 8 in here. And then we need to figure out what are the 3 digits and the common digit between them. So 3 ways to get to 8. All of them, 2 ways to get to 8, which is 1, 2, and 5, 1, 3, and 4. And you can see between them there always is a 1. I think the other way to really think about it is when it comes to 3 digits and 8, there always has to be a 1. So the 1 was always going to be in here. One of these is 2, 5. One of these is 3, 4. We've also got this 3. So there's a 3 in one of these, joined with a 4 in one of these. And we don't know the order of this. We haven't got anything to tell us. That's a 2, 5 in one of them. We're left with 6, 7, and 9, which you've got now. This is on the German whispers line. This has to be high. I typically use high, think like thermometer high as in hot as red. Low as in thermometer cold would be blue, and that's back to high again. There's no guarantee that I was going to say, I'm tempted to say there has to be a 1 in here, but there's no guarantee that 6 is on there. 6 could be up here without an issue. So I'm not sure we can really do much further with this German whispers line other than say, this is not a 6 because it would require a double 1. It's also not an 8 because it's already in the column. So this is restricted to 7 or 9. 7 or 9 sees this cell on the Renban line, that's 6 and 8. It's a 1 cell arrow, so that has to be the same digit, that's 6 or 8. I think that's all we can do at the moment. So down here, see these 2 8s, forcing an 8 in there. Now, I'm fairly confident I can't put an 8 on the arrow, because even if I make these the minimum, we're already at 10. So once again, we're left with an 8 in here, plus a 3, plus a whole bunch of digits that we can't be entirely sure of at this point. 8 looking here. If you remember, we did this earlier. If they're in the same box, as is the case here, can't use 7 because that would be 1, 2, 4, and there's no other way to get to 7. Can't be 8 because it can see it. That's got to be 9. Now this one in here means this is 2 or higher. I'm very suspicious that it has to be 2. So if I try and place 3, I think I can make that work. I can put 2, 4 in here, and I need to get to 6 with 1, 5. Yeah, that works. So it's not necessarily fixed as a 2. Could this be a 3? How would we get to 6? Yeah, it can be, because I can do 1, 5 and 2, 4 again. So I think, can this be a 4? No, because to get to 5, I'll need to use 1, 4 and 2, 3, and you can see I repeated the 4. So this is restricted somewhat. It's 2 or 3. This 9 tells us this is a 7 now, which tells us this is a 1, 2 pair. That's not a 7. Forcing a 7 in here, meaning that this is now a 5, a 5. That 7 can't be here. That's a 7. That's a 6. This is now 7, 9, and the 6 is up here. Excellent. We know that this is from 2, 3, and 4 now. We need 2 contiguous digits. And this 2, 3 disrupts things somewhat. So, because we can't put 2 in here anymore. Well, we couldn't because we've got 1 and 2 in there. But it's either 3, 4, or 4, 5. I'm going to assert 3, 4, or 4, 3, 4, or 4, 5. Can't be 2, can't be 1. 3 and 4 is fine. 4 and 5 is fine. 6 is not available. 7, which is between, 7 is not available. 8 is not available. 9 is not available. So we have to have a 4 in here. And this is from 2, 3, or 5. Which might be enough information to actually solve the 7 now. Sorry, the 9, I mean. I'm kind of surprised that there's still 2 options. So I don't think 3 is possible anymore. If 3 was there, we need to get to 6 in one of 2 ways. 1, 5, 2, 4, and look at that, I've broken the cell. So yeah, my instinct was correct. This now has to be a 2. And we need 2 different ways to get to a 7. So notice this is now 3 or 5. Let's see what we can do with that. We can put 1, 6. That's going to work. And 3, 4, because the 2, 5 is not available. So this is 1, 6 or 3, 4. And therefore this has to be the 5, and this is a 3, 4 pair. Now we know that there's a 3, 4 also up here, which would force this to be a 1, 6, and a 2, 5, which would force this, well, I mean, because it's the other side is the 3, 4, the 1, 6, this would be the 3, 4. So it's almost breaking, it's almost solvable from here, but I think we probably need to look elsewhere in the grid and come back to it. You know, for example, the fact that this is 2, 3, and 4 feels to me quite high. So we've placed 7, 8, and 9. Apparently we've got 1 and 6 in here. I don't think I can place the 6 on the arrow, because again, 6, 2, we're already at 8. Even if this is a 1, we've broken the puzzle. So the 6 has to be in here. And now we have 1. Is it really 2, 4, 5? Can I actually place a 5 on here? 5, 2, 1 would work. And then the 5, no, 5 couldn't work, surely. 5, 2, 1 would require me to get to 7. 2, 5 is not available. 3, 4. Yeah, so I don't think we can actually rule out anything. I think the 5 doesn't have to be here at this point. Right, let's think about this circle next. And this Renban line does a lot of work. Let's take a look at that. So we've placed 1 and 2, we've placed 3 and 4. The minimum this can be is 5. The minimum this can be is 4. And you can see already, even if this is a 4, I can't get to 6. Minimum that would be is 1, 2. That gets me to 7. So this has to be an 8. There's a very high chance this has to be a 4, because even with a 4, I have to use a 1. It'll be 1, 3. I guess I can afford to go up 1. This could be 5, this could be 6, and use a 2, but I have to use a 1 in here. So that's 5 or 6, and on this side I've got 5, 6 with a 9, and there is a 9. That 9 means this is the 7, that's the 9, 9 not 8, and we have a 1, 2 pair in here. I should know what these are. This is 8 and 7, I'm going to say. And I can place them. That's 8, that's the 7. Let's think about this again. Look at this. This is the 1, 2 looking at this. This was always going to be a 3, isn't it? I think if I go any higher, that's a 4. I would need a 1, 3 pair in all. Yeah, so that's a 3. I need 2 different ways of making a 5. So that would be 1, 4 and 2, 3. And clearly 5 is not part of this anymore. Given the 3 is up here, that means the 2 is up there, so that's the 2. 4 is down here. The 1 has to be there, and there is no 1 here. That's much cleaner now. 1, 2 means that's not a 2, that's 4 and 5. The 4 goes with a 3, the 5 goes with a 2. There are no 5s there. 2, 3, looking at this, that's a 4, that's a 2. We know what this is now. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, and 9. The 3 here, 1, 2 can only be joined with a 5. This must be a 6 now. That's not a 6. Don't need the corners anymore. 6 removes the 1, 6. This is no longer 3, 4. The 3, 4 tells us this is now a 2, 5. Look at it go now. Phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Does it give us any more? We've placed 1, 3, 5, and 7. That's a 9. That's not 9. Probably need to think about this circle next, and then Sudoku will give us the rest, won't it? Yeah, there may be a few more obvious things. I'm not necessarily going to be pursuing them just yet. Reasonably happy to sort of take a look at this one now. So it's not a 9, it's not an 8, it's not a 6 either, it's not a 5. I'm fairly sure a 4 will not work. Because, 1, 2, 1, 1, yeah, broken. 7. Does that mean that has to be a 1? Because you see, the 2 of these cells, or 3 of these cells are together. So I think this cannot be a 2. But let me prove that. If that's a 2, we're looking for 2 different ways to make a 5. Which isn't possible on this side because we already placed 2, 3, and 4. That's not going to work. And I'm fairly sure we can't go higher. We need to get to 4. And that would require both of these to be 1, 3. And at least one of them will have to repeat the 3. So that's got to be a 1. That's a 2. That's a 1. Now we need to get to 6. 2, 3, 4 means that's got to be the 5, 1 side in this setup, because we need the 1 to be repeated, and there's 1 already in the box. And this side is the 2, 4, which we actually cannot determine at this point. This 5 does some work for us though. That's the 5, sorry, that's the 9, that's the 5. This is from 2, 3, or 4. No, it isn't. That's a 4, 3, 2, 4, 4, 3, 2. Can we do more? Yep, 1 and 4. Fantastic. We still need to place 5, which can only go in one place, and 7, 6 and 7. We know the order of that. That's the 7, that's the 6. We can probably finish this box now. We need 3 and... Sorry, I said 3, not 4, surely. 3 and 2. 2 and 3. We need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9, and 7. That's not 4 or 7, or 5 in fact. That's 9. Therefore that's an 8. Neither of these are 9. In fact, neither of these are 5, because we can place the 5 up here now. That's 5, that's 9. We need to place a 1. It's not in here. That's the 1. And 6. We can place this digit now. 3. Sure, we can do more. We've got 4 and 6 and 8. 8 is in here. 6, 4, 4. We need 9 and 3 to finish. That's the 3. That's the 9. What a beautiful puzzle this was. Though I shouldn't brag just yet. We haven't actually necessarily finished. That's 5 and 9, not 4 and 9. We've got 2 and 6, I'm going to say. And then 7 and 8. Okay. Look at this. That's a 6, that's a 1. Therefore, that's a 2, that's a 6. This 2 means that's the 3 and 2, 4 and 3, 4 and 7, 5 and 9, and 7 and 8. Oh, we need the 2 and 1, of course. And if I've not made any mistake, that's the solution to today's puzzle. Absolutely phenomenal puzzle. ViKingPrime, I loved it. Yeah, I'm not sure I agree with the 2-star difficulty rating. I don't think it was that difficult to spot this break-in, that you had to have a 1 in here, 2, 3, 4, forcing a 9 in there, forcing an 8 in there, forcing the 3 because it's an odd, making this absolutely an 8. There was no other option. So yeah, I don't think there was really, you know, once you've seen the break-in, I don't think there is really much difficulty for this puzzle. But regardless, I hope that you guys have enjoyed today's video. Bye for now, and see you in the next one.